Hi there everyone, my name is Ben Levy. I'm Senior Educational Psychologist at BINOR, which is the education arm of Norwood. Thanks so much for tuning in. I just want to spend a couple of minutes sharing with you a few tips for if you're a parent of a child with autism. It is obviously World Autism Awareness Week, so I thought I'd share a few basic tips with you to help you manage anything that's going on with your child with autism from this week all the way through this current situation we're facing. Now, some of these tips will actually apply to all parents, particularly those with younger children, so do stay tuned even if you don't have a child with autism. So three key things I'll talk about, and it's a brief video. What we'll do is we'll accompany this with a document that we also shared on our Facebook page. We'll repost that, which has a bit more detail and practical examples for you. So the first and foremost is routines. Routines will be absolutely crucial, as I'm sure you're aware, for you and your child. It's actually useful for all of us, and I hope we're all falling into some sort of a routine at home. For your child, if your child has autism, or if they're a younger child, visual reminders of the routine are very, very helpful. So see if you can put together a little visual timetable of the day and have it somewhere very prominent in the house. What you'll tend to find is as the weeks go on, your child will refer back to that and even remind you about what's going on in the routine and what's happening next in the timetable. So visuals, very useful, and have a routine and a timetable for that routine. Now, if things do break in the routine, you can have a little question mark, which points out that we aren't doing what we normally do, and you can even prepare your child ahead of time for that, to say, oh yeah, that's a question mark time where we don't always do what we expect to do. Another important thing is language. We know children with autism and all people with autism really can struggle with language and communication, being understood and understanding what we're saying. Once again, the more concrete or visual we can be, the better. Keep language simple when you have to talk. Just explain the actions that need to be taken, and again, where possible, supply something visual. If you know that your child needs to do something every single day and you can make a photo of it, just share the photo. Much easier. If you need to walk them to show them what to do, walk them. After a few attempts at that, you'll be aware that your child will learn how to do it themselves. And then the third thing is sensory. We know, particularly with children with autism, sensory needs can be prevalent, and that means maybe certain sounds or textures or smells or tastes either overwhelming or actually your child isn't paying attention to them when they need to be. Now, occupational therapists are particularly experts in that. They provided a few great tips in there. But one of the key things to bear in mind is to prepare your child ahead of any sensory experiences. For example, if you're doing some cooking and you need to bear in mind that if your child really doesn't like a particular smell, it sounds simple, but do think ahead of time. Am I closing that door, or am I preparing my child for the smell, which is a better thing in the long term? See if you can prepare your young person to know, oh yeah, there's going to be this smell, and their anxiety levels will reduce because they know it's coming up. And hopefully you've got a little plan for them so they can maybe be further away or sniff something while you're doing that cooking, and the same goes for all the other textures. If you happen to be going out and about and perhaps there's something that they get very drawn to, plan your route to avoid that, or find something else that's safer for them to be drawn to. Again, some of this is common sense, but it's worth just thinking through if your partner's there with you and plan ahead of time for that. That's just a few top tips for this week and going forward, and as I say, it's useful for not just your child with autism, but for many, many parents with young ones who are struggling a little bit at the moment. Do look at that tip sheet that's going to be posted alongside this short video, and a heads up that I'm going to host a webinar in a couple of weeks. We're looking maybe around Passover time, where you can submit questions ahead of time about your child's learning and development in any area, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. If you can post it ahead of time, we'll create a format for you to do that, or during the actual webinar you can tune in and hopefully I can take some live questions too. So that's it from me for now. Hopefully this is the first of a few videos. Keep well, stay safe, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye now.